Okay, so we're going to start with these crazy, desperate Democrats. I had Chris Cuomo on Valuetainment, Patrick Bet-David's show. It got into a pretty heated debate, apparently. I watched a bit of it and just decided to watch this clip on camera. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous the way that these Dems seem to contradict themselves. It usually makes me feel like I gotta dig deeper into where they come from, where their education stems from, because when they stop making sense, you gotta wonder, who are they connected to? Let's have a look at this clip here.
Chris, ready? So 16 out of 50 states in America do not require an ID to vote. You don't have to be a left, right, or center person to say that doesn't make sense. What are your thoughts on this, the way we're voting today?
There's a lot that goes to it. You have half the representation of the U.S. government represents 1/3 of the population. Why? Because of how we do it with the Senate and redistricting rules and stuff like that. So there's a fundamental imbalance. Voter ID, here are the two arguments, and you can assess them how you want. Is it that, I forget how it was explained earlier, but I don't know that it's that the government, whatever that means, if you want to ascribe it all to one groupthink, doesn't trust blacks or think minorities are capable of or whatever. But the argument is that culturally, socioeconomically, as you go down in terms of the poverty level, as poverty becomes more important, there's less.
It doesn't make any sense what he's trying. Like, he just rambles on about, and we'll keep watching, but he just keeps rambling on. And nothing he says, just like what Democrats and liberals tend to do, they just beat around the bush. They never actually address the point. And then eventually Candace just fucking asks him. Let's keep going.
Connection with government. There's less percentage of people who want to interface with government and who have identification. So the argument is, if you say you need an ID to vote, you will have an unfair bias against those strata of society that don't tend to get IDs and don't want to deal with government.
Okay, but we're better than these people because we have ID and they don't. These are really low-class citizens. They're so low they don't have IDs. What the fuck is he talking about?
I'm just saying that is the argument.
No, it's not an argument to lie, okay? Because
but
it's
that
not
is
about,
the argument.
you don't get an ID because you want to engage with government. You get an ID because you want to drive. You get an ID because you're 19
right.
and you're 21 and you want to have your first drink. You get an ID because you quite literally need an ID to do so many things in
That's
society.
true.
So forget, you wouldn't say that people that are in a lower socioeconomic class are never drinking, are never driving, are never doing all of the other things that are required, never seeing a movie, like, that's above PG-16. You need an ID to do so much in life. So you're focusing, this is the lie. You're saying, well, they don't tend to vote. That might be true.
Now I'm going to tell you something, and you're not going to like it, but that's not my problem. It is not even this issue. It's not both sides of the aisle. The right, until voter ID, has consistently been against anything that would increase favor of this.
Can I ask you a yes or no?
Yes or no?
Ready? Can we play that game again?
Yes. Did I
Should
get it right?
Americans be required to have ID to vote? Chris, yes or no?
No. And I'll tell you why.
Wow.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Until I see fraud rates that go along with the distinction, I don't believe that you.
Yeah, anyway, that's the gist of that video. Making absolutely no sense until he sees fraud evidence. Isn't that sort of impossible to detect if you're not having ID attached to votes? If the votes are just coming in massive amounts and there's no registry associated with each individual vote, how will you detect the fraud? How will it ever be detected? They know that there's no answer to this question. They know that they can yammer on about the same talking point and never make any sense whatsoever. That's the whole politician's answer. But it's funny because when you look at these people these Democrats, when they don't make any sense, like I said at the beginning, you go in and you do some searching and you find out that you go to his education and oh, he's a Yale boy. Yale University, the home of the Skull and Bones. And George W. Bush was a Skull and Bones. The Bush family are Skull and Bones. I mean, these secret societies are everywhere. And, you know, when you check out a lot of these Democrats, a lot of them happen to go to, you know, for some reason, Jesuit colleges. I'm not sure. I won't say much more than that. But, you know, these Jesuit colleges seem to be home to a lot of these irrational Democrats these days, including our trusted Trudeau up in Canada. Something to think about when you start looking at the history of these things and you follow these dates back. And there are answers down those paths that you can't really talk about in the public forums like YouTube and social media. Things to think about when you look at Gavin Newsom, you know, an irrational Democrat destroying California. He happens to be, you know, went to Santa Clara University. All these Democrats, they just don't seem to be able to say anything bad about each other. You know, even Bill Maher just says, I just like the guy. I don't know, I just like the guy. Like, you like the guy. You know, what about the what he's done to the state that you live in? So, like I said, if you start seeing these Democrats saying things that are complete nonsense, look at where they went to school and start putting those pieces together, and I bet you're going to start coming across a lot of different answers.